5 p.m. Collapse. Chapter 1. It was a breezy and rainy day. As I was heading home, I got stuck in the usual 5 p.m. traffic. Only on this particular day, a truck had collided with a military convoy. I didn't think of it as strange at the time, but our armed forces were mobilizing to control the utter chaos that had yet to unfold. I turned on the radio, listening to some music to pass the time. The radio started getting static. Then, an explosion from the crash. Panic erupted. People were seeking cover. I got out of the car to orient myself, but I saw nothing but smoke and the view of people trying to get away. I headed off into an alley and got out on an adjacent street. Police cars were driving by with sirens on. What the fuck? I said to myself, entering a rather run-down apartment building to seek help. I knocked on doors, with not as much as a noise coming from inside, until I reached the end of the corridor. There, a door was cracked open. I reached for the handle, knocked and yelled out, "Hello? Anyone there? Hello?" No response. The TV could be heard, with a static buzz accompanied by an all-too-familiar sound, the civil warning message. I carefully made my way through the apartment that could easily have been mistaken for a shelter for junkies. A simple warning message showed on the early 2000s TV. All residents in the city are ordered to evacuate and regroup at any of the following sites: West Point Mall, Kingston, or Chelsea. This is not a test. Gunfire could be heard outside, car alarms buzzing. The windows were so dirty that I could barely see outside. I opened the same door I came in from, took a glimpse outside. There was even more smoke, fire, and chaos. However, I saw soldiers rounding up some civilians. One started attacking the soldier. He let loose his firearm. I even heard the ricochets next to me. I quickly ducked inside again and let the door close behind me. The gunfire quickly fell silent. All I could hear was alarms going off. Coming to my senses, I made my way to the emergency staircase up to the roof in hopes of getting my bearings. Fuck. Locked. I tried to yank the handle. It budged enough for me to get it open. What I saw at that moment still brings me shivers. An unforgettable sight. Half the city was burning. The flames, the explosions, and gunfire. All of that chaos. A wave of desperation flew over me. It all felt so hopeless. But I simply couldn't just lay down and accept me giving up. An idea came to my head. The metro. If I could make it down there, I could possibly catch a train or at least walk through the tunnels out of the city. Making my way down the stairs, exiting through the same door, the smoke had lifted a bit. I could make out the body of a soldier in the distance. Why did they round up those civilians if they were hostages? I mean, of course, they could just have been attempting to evacuate us. The metro station wasn't far away. A very run-down station, even before all of this. Something quickly struck me wrong when I walked down those stairs. The smell of sulfur, the cold wind screaming through the halls. It was eerily empty. I reached the platform. Naturally, no timetables were on. However, I could make out the metallic noise of an oncoming train. Finally, a feeling of joy hit me. All I had to do now was hope it stopped. It didn't stop, of course, in contrary to what I had hoped. Entering the tunnel and walking through it seemed like the only option. With only the occasional light to reach for, time went by, My time perception was completely off. By the time I had made it to the end of the line, it must have been 2 or 3 a.m. In contrast to the station I went into, it was filled with scared, sheltering civilians. I tried to ask a young woman resting against a wall if she had any idea what was going on. She muttered,
"Blood. So much blood."
It sent a shiver down my spine. Exiting the station, I could see the river that separated the southern part of the city, not far off from one of the designated evacuation sites. Walking down the road, there were signs directing me. I was getting closer. Finally, I reached the gates of Chelsea Evacuation Center, but I wasn't the only one. There were people banging on the closed gate. The guard post was manned by soldiers, ordering them to get back. Before I knew it, the soldiers opened fire on the group of people. It was a massacre, but with a stroke of luck, I managed to jump into the river. When I got back up on the surface, I could still hear the screams and disappearing gunfire. In the distance, I could make out a boat. Swimming with all my energy, I reached it and was greeted by 2 armed men, one with a flashlight shining in my face. "Whoa," I said. The man who was aiming at me said to his companion, "We'll check him. Help him up." So, that's my story. Are you convinced? The man remained quiet for a few seconds.
Yeah. I'm convinced.